Now, how does your local government forum, the Commonwealth Local Government Forum, promote and foster inclusive action on the issues of democracy and the sound management of natural resources? Of course, the themes of the annual Democracy Forum 2014 here in Botswana.
Indeed. Well, we bring together local governments and ministries of local government in 53 Commonwealth countries. So our mandate is very much linked to overall Commonwealth political values on democracy and development, and we think the two are obviously very linked. But on specifically democracy and local democracy, we have a Charter of the Commonwealth on political values, which includes something called the Aberdeen Principles on Local Democracy and Local Good Governance, which includes things like transparency, accountability, holding democratic elections, having good capacity at the grassroots level. So we try and help our members, which are the local governments, which are the ministries in the different countries, to take forward those principles and give them practical support in that direction.
And what lessons can be applied by other international development actors in that sense?
Well, I think what's interesting about the Commonwealth, of course, it's very much a North-South forum, which is unusual in many ways. It's also a forum which can be quite tough on its members. I think it's one of the few forums where member states get suspended if they don't follow democratic principles. You know, you had the example recently of Fiji. Before that, even big countries like Nigeria and Pakistan were suspended because of military coups and so on. And so I think we're trying to apply some of the same issues at the local government level on the basis that we need grassroots democracy as well as top-down democracy, if you like. But it's not just a question of suspending members, also giving them the help and the tools and the instruments to stick to those principles.
And I wondered whether you felt that in these different approaches that there was sufficient expertise and knowledge within the international development community, whether there were any specific areas where you saw a need for new skills, the upgrading of skills, further training, or even technical assistance.
Well, there's huge need for capacity everywhere, and that doesn't just apply to developing countries. I mean, certainly, I think what we can use is some very useful models. For example, in Australia, there's a very interesting work with the mining sector in places like Queensland, where there's been a multi-stakeholder approach, bringing together the local governments, the private sector, the mining companies, the state government, setting not just environmental goals for companies in the extractive industries, but also some social goals in terms of housing, in terms of social infrastructure. South Africa is another good example, I think, of having an integrated approach at the local government level. Every South African municipality, or indeed local government in the rural areas, has to have an integrated development plan, and that integrated development plan obviously includes natural resource management as a core objective. And so you have got some useful tools, but what you do lack is capacity, unfortunately, in many countries, even developed countries, and there needs to be a lot of capacity training to allow those tools to be used properly.